Right, let's start. You know that Polish people don't necessarily know the parties in this country because although we can vote in those elections, we sort of don't know about it properly. So my first question is, if you would be talking to someone who doesn't know what the party stands for, what would you have told them? What Labour is all about?
Well, the Labour Party is founded by the trade union movement, continues to be closely associated with it. So it's a party whose purpose is to be on the side of those people who work for a living, who aren't able to rely on wealth that they've accumulated or has been handed down to them. It's a party that's on the side of the underdog. It's a party that's on the side of people who, struggle to do the things they want to do and believe that the power of government can be mobilized to be on their side and to help them achieve the things they want to achieve in life.
So, looking at the elections that are happening very shortly, what are the most important things that we should know about what Labour stands for?
Well, at the root of it, the Labour Party believes in using the collective power of people to create change that makes an impact on the greatest number of lives. So the obvious example, because it is the creation of the Labour Party and remains a top priority for the Labour Party, is the National Health Service. We have a National Health Service that means that if something goes wrong in your health, your ability to get help doesn't depend on who you are, where you live, whether you can pay for it. We have a system that says that people with the most urgent needs get to the front of the queue. And we pay for it by every one of us putting a bit of money into a pot. And if you don't need to use it, you're the lucky one, because that means that your health is good and you haven't fallen ill.
So, apart from looking into NHS, what is in Labour manifesto?
Well, it's the bread and butter issues that make a difference to everybody's life. So if, as well as health, then let's think of something else that people depend on, housing. You know, having a decent place to live that is secure and you can depend upon it is one of the most basic props of life, isn't it? If you haven't got somewhere where you can live properly, then all the other things you'd like to do will be on foundations of sand. So it's been very important to previous Labour governments and will be important to the next one if Labour is returned to invest in increasing the supply of affordable housing. The market will provide housing for people who can afford to pay for it. But for people whose incomes are never going to be of a level where you can buy a house, we need a supply of decent, reliable, high quality public housing for rent that people know that they will be able to get access to it as they make their way through life. So, as well as health, housing will be another really big priority for an incoming Labour government. And then the economy will be. The challenge of the Welsh economy in the longer run is having enough people to do the jobs that we need to have done. We have a falling birth rate. We have fewer young people in our population. We have a rising number of older people in our population. Where will the people come from to do the jobs that need to be done? How can we create an economy here in Wales that is attractive enough to people that we can have that supply of labour properly paid, with conditions of employment that are decent and can be enforced through the courts where necessary, and then an economy that allows everybody to thrive.
So, what is the idea for strengthening the economy?
Well, it depends on where you are in Wales because there are different opportunities in different places. One of the great contributions that Wales can make to the United Kingdom and even beyond that in the years to come is that we can be the test bed for the renewable energy industries of the future. Here we are, a small country. We have wind. It rains occasionally. So we've got water, and we're surrounded on three sides by the sea with all the energy that you can collect from the movement of the waves. So the renewable energy industries of the future will be actually in the west of Wales, the outward facing bits that face the sea, where we will have floating offshore wind, solar energy, wind energy, and so on. So there are parts of Wales where that is an enormously important part of our future. And then you have other parts of Wales, particularly the southeast, for example, where the previous Labour government has invested an enormous sum of money in creating the South Wales Metro, as it's called, so that instead of work having to go to where people are, people will be able to move more easily to where the work is to be found. So you'll be able to travel reliably, cheaply, and affordably, opening up new economic opportunities for you. And the southeast and the northeast, those are the sorts of investments we need. Investments in infrastructure, and the further west you go, the more important those renewable energy opportunities will be.
Thank you. One of the big things for me was is the memorandum of understanding that we've got with Poland, which is a connection that is quite important economically. And is there anything that you can say about it?
Well, look, Wales has benefited enormously from the number of people from Poland who have come to live, to work, and then to settle here in Wales. And we know that that number increased significantly over the 20-year period. I hope Wales is a very comfortable place for people who come from Poland, because we've got lots of shared history together, haven't we? And the Memorandum of Understanding, which I was very privileged to be able to sign, is a symbol of that. It's a relationship with Silesia, particularly because of our shared history of coal mining and heavy industry, and trade union influences in that have been very important. What the Memorandum of Understanding does is to create a platform underneath all of that, so that if there are people from Poland who are thinking of moving to the United Kingdom, that they will know if they come to Wales, it's a place where that contribution is recognised already, and where there are a series of things in place to allow people, to come and make their futures part of our future here in this small spot on the globe.
Okay, so the next question is about, obviously we understand that the Wales doesn't have power over the immigration, but looking at the amount of people who are of EU origins, whether they're Polish, Romanian, Slovakian, there isn't any proper support for us, even though we are predominantly working and paying taxes. Well, the support to our organizations trying to help within the language, or to understand the problems that young people are facing, is not there. Is there something that you think can be done to support the white other minorities?
Well, I hope it's not true that there's no support there, because the Welsh Government has invested in a whole series of organisations, initiatives and so on that touch the lives of people from other parts of Europe who live here. That is not to say at all that more could not be done to try and make that a more coherent pattern, and a pattern that works better for people who need those services. We are very lucky that people come to stay here in Wales. They make an enormous contribution to our economy, obviously in terms of the tax effort they make, but in many, many other ways, in terms of the cultural richness of Wales, about the dedication that people have to education for their children and all of those sorts of things. So I am sure that a Labour-led government would be committed to finding new and better ways to support those communities. Because of our own situation with the language, the Welsh language, we are acutely aware of the importance of mother tongue teaching for people who come from another part of the world and want to make sure that their children remain in touch with their own history and their own heritage. I think you would find a very ready willingness by a Labour government to respond to those sorts of things. But they'll want to do it in a way that isn't just random, isn't just, a group starts up here and you give them money. They'd want to do it in a way that was a bit more systematic than that to make sure that people got the help that they needed.
So we've spoken about the health, we've spoken about the economy. Is there anything that you would like to say about what the plan is?
Well, a vote for the Labour Party in this election is a vote for a party that knows what it is to be in government. The world is a very uncertain and difficult place. This is not a good time to take a risk on people who've never had to face up to the challenges that being in government brings with it. I genuinely believe that 25 years of Labour government means that the Labour Party is a party you can trust with government in Wales, but it's also a party that has genuine ambition for our future, for our shared future. We're not satisfied with the world as it is. We want the world to be a fairer, greener, and more prosperous place for our citizens. And our policies are, cluster around those three goals: fairness, recognizing the global challenge that is climate change, and then an economy in which the rewards are shared out fairly so that everybody can see a future for themselves and their families.
Fabulous. That's all I needed.